Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the TradeStation Getting Started. Today, we're going to highlight the TradeStation desktop. So before we get to the platform, let's go and get some introductions and some disclosures out of the way. We are going to present the desktop today. You know that as a TradeStation client, everyone here has access to multiple trading platforms. You can trade from your desktop. You can also trade from your mobile device or even trade from a web browser. So we have all those different platforms and we do classes every Wednesday and rotate, those platforms so you can have an understanding on how to use each one of them. But today is all about the desktop. For those that are new to the Getting Started series, my name is Jesus Nava. I'm the Director of Client Training and Education for TradeStation Securities. I enjoy these classes because I get to connect with everyone that's using the platform and help you with everything you're doing there, either technical analysis, strategy development, or even placing some trades. So before we get started, the usual disclosures, keep in mind that every symbol and idea that I talk about is for educational purposes only, that these are not recommendations of TradeStation, and that past historical performance is no guarantee of future results, and also that online trading is not suitable for everyone. For additional information on these disclosures, go to www.tradestation.com/important-information. All right, let me go ahead and switch over to my TradeStation platform, and let's highlight a few tools that are the ones that are most used on the TradeStation desktop. If you're new to TradeStation, this is the TradeStation desktop. I have nothing open. That's why it looks like a gray workspace. But if this is the first time that you're using TradeStation, or maybe the first few days that you're using it, you're probably familiar with the TS Today workspace. Notice that I went here to the apps menu and went here to TS Today because sometimes you may just close that workspace and not know where it is anymore. But if you go to apps, you're going to find a TS Today little button again that opens up TS Today. And this is precisely how the desktop opens up when you first install it. I want to point out a few things here. First of all, on the left-hand side, you have a drop-down with quick start videos. So these videos are a total of 18 videos, by the way. These videos will highlight specific apps on the TradeStation desktop. They are short, anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. So make sure you watch them so that you have an understanding, an overall understanding, like an overview of the TradeStation desktop and how each one of the applications work. If you need more details about any of these applications, of course, we can look for more detailed videos or deep dives on all that functionality. And by the way, these sessions that we're doing every Wednesday also work as a way for you to ask questions. And a lot of times, you're doing something on the platform and you're wondering, how do I do this? How do I do that? So if you want to, you can join me on Wednesdays and ask those questions here. So feel free to open up the chat window, ask questions, make comments about the TradeStation platform, and we'll make the class more interactive, right? Here on the right-hand side, we have upcoming events. Please do not miss today's event. Let me go here to the 12th. Today's event is Unlocking the Power of Iron Condors and Iron Butterflies. We have a guest speaker from the OIC, the Options Industry Council, and he's going to talk to us about iron condors and iron butterflies and their application in today's markets. So that's today at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Hopefully, I can see you there as well. Here in the middle, we have news. They get updated every so often. So you get a news feed over here of recent news articles. And that's it. Let me go ahead and open up a new workspace here at the bottom. We have a convenient plus next to the tab. And if I click it, it'll open up an untitled workspace. And notice that I'm back on a gray space. This is empty, no applications. I'm going to start here with charting. There's not much to say about charting. There's just a straightforward chart. Let me talk about a few things you can do here to this chart. I don't have my toolbar, so let me go here to the view menu, application toolbars, and click on show all. I like to show my toolbar on all my applications. I'm not sure if you noticed, but TradeStation only shows the toolbar on the application that it's active. So if you have multiple applications visible at the same time, the toolbar will show and disappear as you click on different windows. Personally, I don't like the flickering that happens on the screen when things disappear without me, expecting it. So a lot of times I go here to the view menu, application toolbars, and I click on show all so that they're visible everywhere. I mean, this 1/4 of an inch that takes up the toolbar at the top of the chart is not a big deal. So I'm okay with using that space with the toolbar. Some traders, stress about every single inch on their monitor, and they want to maximize it so that they can watch the markets on every piece of their monitor. But a lot of times, I like to have the toolbar visible. There's something about it, it's just the flickering that happens when you switch from one application to the other that I don't like. Another thing that happens on the TradeStation platform that I don't like, and this is a behavior that is built into the platform, it's also the title bar. The title bar on applications also disappears if it's not the active window. So those two things are done so that you can maximize the real estate of your monitor and not have things occupying space that could be replaced with something important about the markets. Personally, I like to have those visible as well. So if you like to have your TradeStation static and not flicker every time that you click on different applications, first thing you need to do, view, application toolbars, and then click on show all so that you have the toolbar on all your applications. And then you have to come here to the file menu. It's a 2-step process. File menu, preferences, and then go over here to the desktop. This is the desktop preferences. I'm going to go to the view tab, and this is what controls the title bars. I'm going to set this option that says show the title bar on windows selected above. And as you can tell, all my windows are selected. So I got title bars on every single window. I believe the one that is defaulted is this one. Only show title bar on the active window. I prefer this other one. I mean, it's up to you to choose the one you like. That's why it's called preferences, because you just choose the one you like most. So I'm just talking about the differences and showing you ways in which you can modify your experience so that it's the way you want it, okay? A couple of things more that I want to show you here in charting, which are shortcuts. You can change the symbol on this chart by typing it in. A lot of times, yeah, you may want to go here through the menus, and one of the reasons why you have it visible is because you want to click through it. But if you go to the data tab here, and you can edit the symbol to change it. Of course, going to the data, clicking on edit symbol, then clicking on the box where you enter the symbol, and clicking OK. It does require many clicks before you can enter the symbol. So what I do is I just type it in. TradeStation is responsive to things that you enter with the keyboard, so make sure that you use it extensively. One of those things is changing the symbol. If I want to see a chart of Tesla, I just type in TSLA. I didn't have to press anywhere to get this command line. Actually, I did press a key. But as soon as you start typing a key of the symbol that you're trying to type, the command line pops up. Why? Because TradeStation assumes that you're trying to provide a command. So the command line pops up. And what is the command? The command is a symbol, TSLA. I hit the enter key, and as soon as I hit the enter key, the chart changes to Tesla. And this happens with any symbol you want to watch. AAPL, enter. This is Apple. If you do VZ, this is Verizon. DIS, Disney. So you can cycle through different symbols, but just typing them in. You can also change the time frame here. Notice that this chart right now, it's set to 5 minutes. I can type in the word daily. Take a look at the command line. The word is daily. Hit enter. Now I am on a daily chart. Notice the time frame here on the top left. Of course, I have a dedicated time frame drop down. The items here in this drop down cannot be modified, so you're stuck with the ones that are here. But you can always enter one that you want to use. For example, I'm looking at the minute intervals here, and I don't see one for, let's say, 65 minutes. A lot of times, if I'm looking at a stock, rather than dividing my day into 60-minute bars, I divide it into 65-minute bars. And that way, it creates 6 even 65-minute bars. If you do a 60-minute interval on a stock, you're gonna get, 6 bars that are exactly 1 hour, and then you get the last one is just a half hour. That's because the markets are open from 9:30 to 4, right? So you get that 6.5 hours. So if you do 60-minute, that last candlestick or that last bar is only going to be 30 minutes. So if you want to break up your day into even time bars, you can try 65 minutes, which splits your day into 6 even 65-minute bars. But I don't see 65 minutes here, but I can type it in. If I type in 65 space MIN, notice the abbreviation. I don't have to. I think I can type minutes, but I don't have to. MIN works as well. If I hit enter here, then I'm looking at a 65-minute chart of Disney. Does that make sense? Now, while I'm on a 65-minute bar, this is something really cool. I can just type in a number, and TradeStation will take that as a time frame. So notice what happens if I type in a 1, enter. I'm in a 1-minute chart. If I do 2, enter. I'm in a 2-minute chart. So you can type in any number, and the chart will take that as a time frame. If I do 144, enter. This is a 144-minute chart. If you want a 2-hour chart, 240, enter. This is a 2-hour chart. Pretty cool, huh? Now, if you want to bring up a weekly chart, just type in the word weekly, enter, and this is a weekly chart of Disney. Other things you can do here in charting is requesting historical data. I'm going to go back here to a 5-minute just to show you something. On my keyboard, and you try this on your side as well. Now, the up arrow and the down arrow key on your keyboard. Down arrow key compresses the view. Up arrow key expands the view. If I compress the view, you're going to notice that my bars are kind of stacked here on the left-hand side of my screen. The reason for that is because it doesn't have enough historical data and it doesn't populate automatically. You'd have to request it. On a 5-minute time frame, TradeStation by default only gives you 5 days of historical data, but you can request more by just typing it in, and TradeStation will load it. So if I want to do 30 days, 30 days. And this is the way that you request historical data. 30 days is interpreted as a historical data request. And you can do days, weeks, and you can do even years, months, whatever time frame you want to type in, TradeStation will recognize. This is 30 days. 30 days of 5-minute data. I can do 3 weeks. This is 3 weeks. And I can do 4 months. This is 4 months. And I can do 5 years. When you do years, you're going to get this PD on the top left. Everybody sees that? The PD in yellow means pending data. So when you do a large request, yeah, TradeStation will launch the download scheduler. I have mine disabled, by the way, because every time you do a large request of data, there's going to be a pop-up window, which is called the download scheduler. On that pop-up window, I've selected don't show it again at the bottom, or use the same settings every time. But I want my data as soon as possible. There's 2 options on that download scheduler. So you can do the same on your side, and you can set it to the option that you want. Usually when I request data, I want it, when I'm requesting it. So I do as soon as possible. And then I check the box at the bottom that says don't show it again. So every time that I load historical data, it'll use the same settings and it'll do it automatically. You can see that my PD in yellow is gone here from the top left corner. And if I scroll back on this chart and I click on the background, I can see the date right here on this little box on the left-hand side. It's called the data tips window. Take a look at the date, 6/12/19. So we're talking about June 12th of 2019, 5 years of historical data for Disney. Disney was trading at $135 5 years ago. What is it trading at right now? At $100. One thing that you can do is turn this into a percent change chart. We already looked at the price that Disney was trading at on 2019, which is 135. There's been a big drop in price, about over 30% of the price dropped if you're comparing, from 2019 to today. But you can have an exact calculation by turning this chart into what's called a percent change chart. Here in the style tab, you find percent change chart, and I can click on enable. You get this pop-up that says enabling the percent change chart format will disable account orders and positions, all strategies, and all activity bars that you wish to continue. It seems like it's a big deal, but it's not really, because if you're not using any of these like strategies and activity bars, then it's okay. Account orders and positions is just the little signals that show up on the chart if you're trading. Yeah, like your entries and your exits. I'm not sure if you've noticed that every time you put in a trade, that trade will show up inside of the chart. That's called account orders and positions. It's just telling you that some things are going to be disabled, but you can always go back and turn them, and reverse what you just did. So don't worry about this message here, which sounds like you're doing something really bad. Do you wish to continue? Yes, I wish to continue. And here we go. We have this line chart that tells us the percentage change. Now, my percentage change here is 0.46. Why is it 0.46? On a 5-minute time frame, I want to know where it starts. Because it's got to start somewhere. I'm not sure where this is starting. There should be a vertical type of anchor, because I mean the percent change count, the percent change here, I wasn't expecting to see a negative 0.51. I was expecting to see something higher in the 30s, right? Because we checked the prices. But there is an anchor that this percent change is anchored to, and I'm trying to find it. And I'm trying to figure out why it selected it. But it should be a very clear vertical line. Not sure where it went. Let me see if the thing is that I have 5 years of historical data, and that may have caused the problem. What I'm going to do is, well, there you go. This is the 0 line. Every time you see that dotted line right there in the middle, that's 0. But the calculation didn't start there. Okay, so let's do something. We can always change it. And if you go back here to the style menu and go to percent change chart again, you have these options that says calculate from this bar, first bar, last bar, or this bar. If I go from first bar, it recalculates. Why is it not showing me the right percentage here? If I scroll all the way back, this is not, did I choose the right one? Style, percent change chart. I'm going to calculate from first bar. Style, this is not working right. Percent, let me do from last bar. Last bar means that it's going to start right at the point where the data is updating at the moment. So if you look at where the line is right now, it started right 0. See, this is the dotted line that I was looking for. And it crosses right at 0. You're starting right there. If I go to style and I go to percent change chart and I say calculate from first bar, then it should have, if I scroll back here, it should have given me the starting point right there. The yellow line should have started down here. And where is it starting? I don't even know. Okay, maybe I should drop this. Maybe 5 years, it's a lot of data. I don't know what happened here, but I was trying to show you something really cool, and it kind of just confuses me a little. Let's try one more thing. Let me start up a new chart. Maybe it's just the amount of data that I have 5 years of, of historical data. It should be able to calculate it though. Let me go back here. Let me do style, percent change. enable. Yes. So if I scroll all the way back, yeah, you can see this one, for example, this is Disney. It starts right here. I mean, it doesn't go back that far because, as I said earlier, in a 5-minute time frame, I only get 5 days of historical data, but this is what I was expecting. You see the dotted line against the left edge, the dotted line right here, which is 0, and the yellow line, which is my percent change, starts at 0. And now you can see that from 5 days ago, Disney is down 0.5%. Now, let's see what happens if I load 5 years here. Oh, one thing that I forgot to tell you, that if you load historical data on your chart, like I loaded 5 years just a moment ago of 5-minute data, and I got the PD. It doesn't do that again because all that data that you loaded is saved on your computer's hard drive. So it'll be much quicker for you to, your TradeStation chart, to load the data because it's reading it from your hard drive rather than having to load it from the server, the data server. All right, let's go back here to, see, where's my data? This is 5 years. Something's definitely not cooperating with me here. So I'll have to maybe bring this up to the engineering department and try to figure out why is it that it's not anchoring to the beginning. But at any moment, let me turn this into a daily data. At any, is this from 5 years ago? Let's do 5 years. I'm gonna go to style. As you can see, this bothers me a little bit, right? Percent change chart. And I'm gonna say calculate from first bar. Okay, this is more like it, like a 25% drop in price. See, right here is going back to June 12th. It works on a daily chart. Maybe it just doesn't like the 5-minute data, too much data points going back 5 years, but on a daily time frame is able to calculate the percent change from that date. And we can see that right now we're down 25%. Interesting. And you can do all these types of comparison by dropping in different symbols. Oh, that is something interesting. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let me go ahead and go to percent change and disable this. And I'm going to add a second data stream. Let's say, for example, that I want to compare Disney to the S&P 500. Like the index, right? I want to see if Disney is outperforming or underperforming the index. What I need to do here is go to data and add symbol. The symbol for the S&P 500 is $ SPX.X. So I add the symbol, and this creates a multi-data chart. You see a symbol on the top and a symbol at the bottom. TradeStation, by the way, allows you to do this 50 times. That's 50 different times. So you can have up to 50 different symbols in one single chart analysis. Why would you want to do that? Just to do some analysis between symbols. Like, for example, right now, I'm about to do an analysis between Disney and the S&P 500 by going here to Style, Percent Change Chart, and Enable. And I'm going to do right-click, not right-click, Style, Percent Change Chart. This should have been on top. Okay, there we go. Style. I just clicked and dragged one of the lines and dropped it on the other. I'm not sure if you noticed, because still it was seeing some wrong behavior. When you don't start the chart the right way, sometimes it doesn't want to cooperate with you. But here, I had to drag the line on top of the yellow to have a real comparison. I'm going to go here to percent change chart, and I'm going to calculate from first bar. So if I scroll all the way back, and this is back, the year 2019, June 12th, you can see that both lines start at 0. So you see a performance comparison between the S&P 500 and Disney. And if I scroll all the way to the front, you can see throughout history what the performance has been between the two up until today, where you can see the S&P 500 is up 89%, where Disney is down 25%. So maybe not the most outperforming stock out there compared to the S&P 500. A lot of times when you compare particular stock against an index like the S&P 500, which is representative of 500 major companies out there in the market, then you start considering your portfolio and your holdings. If something is not performing as well as the majority of the different companies in the market, maybe I should think about, why is it that I'm holding this? Should I maybe pick or invest my capital somewhere else where it may be in line with what the index is doing, that type of thing. But it's interesting that I wasn't expecting this dramatic difference between the S&P 500 and Disney, but it is what it is. If I click on the yellow line here, I can change the symbol of that yellow line to something different. Let's say, for example, we want to compare the S&P 500 to Apple. If I type in AAPL and hit enter, now take a look at the difference now. The S&P 500 is at 89. Apple is at 343%. Let me see if they're touching here in the back. Yeah, they both start at 0, but you can see how Apple just shoots into infinity and beyond. And then it has a 343% price change compared to the S&P 500. This becomes a very good relative performance analysis where you can have a sequence of symbols, a list of symbols, maybe in radar screen, and you can cycle through all the different symbols and see which one is performing or outperforming the S&P 500. In fact, you can put them all inside of one chart. So if, let's say, for example, you have a portfolio of 20 different stocks and you hold them in your account. You can put all those 20 symbols into a chart, maybe add a benchmark like the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones or any other ETF or index that you may want to use as a benchmark, and then compare your portfolio to that benchmark and see performance-wise which symbol is doing better than the others. Okay, that's a good way of doing performance analysis. All right, enough of multi-data charts and percent change. Let me show you a few more things here. I wanted to show you a little bit of trading because many times I leave trading to the end and I don't quite get to showing you some cool features. Let me go here to the matrix. All right, matrix, it's an order entry tool. It shows market depth. So what you see here inside the blue and the red, those numbers is level 2. So that's the number of shares that are waiting to get filled at each one of those prices. So if I see, for example, well, this is Apple. Apple is trading like crazy. So when I reference a number, it'll probably change within seconds. So it's hard to follow. Let me switch here to something that is a little bit more quiet. Let me go to Bank of America. So Bank of America trading at $39. It doesn't move as many shares as Apple does, but you can see here, like for example, at $39.80, I see that there's a group of shares here, 9,300 shares waiting to be sold. Remember that the red side is the selling side. That changed already, you see? Oh, it came back. Now I have 9,000. And then I have other bids here that are large. For example, here at $39.48, I have about 2,000 shares waiting to get filled. Notice this one right here. There's a big group of 5,000 shares. We have 7,000 right here. So it just continually changed, but you can see where big bulk of orders are going to be filled at each one of these prices. I know that if the price continues to go up and maybe reaches $39.80, by the time it reaches $39.80, probably this number will change. But there's a big number of shares that need to be sold at $39.80 because those are orders that have been submitted and are visible in the ECN and market makers books. So yes, you can use level 2 as a market sentiment indicator as to where the buying and selling pressure is. The number inside parentheses, if you're asking, that's just the number of market makers and ECNs that are reporting inside of that cell. it changes. So for example, it doesn't mean that there's one person with 9,000 shares. It just means that there's a whole bunch of traders inside of that group, and there's 10 reporting agencies inside of that group. Everything gets aggregated. This is all orders that are in the market. This is not exclusive to TradeStation. This is data that comes directly from the exchange. In this case, Bank of America trades in the New York Stock Exchange. So that's data that's coming directly from the exchange and is visible to us. So that's bids and asks. So demand and supply. And here on the right-hand side, we have actual traded volume. So if you want to see which prices have been traded the most, you're going to look at this, and you can look at it in a graphical form, or you can look at it as a number form. You can see that out of the gate, this number stands out, 3978. Not sure for what reason. Maybe there was a large institutional order at that level, but about 800,000 shares were traded at that price. So you can see historical volume. That also helps you calculate this price right here, 3970. Everybody sees the small v next to it. That is the VWAP, volume weighted average price. So if we take all the trading activity, all the volume and all the prices that were traded, and then make a calculation here, this is the price that has been traded the most in average, $39.70. A lot of people use it to value their trades, and the current price, for example, right now is the price of Bank of America, undervalued, overvalued. A lot of times they use that VWAP as a benchmark. In here, you also see the low of today. The 39.48 is the low of today because it has that white horizontal line. And you see the high of today is 39.88. The opening is this little tick, 39.80. And of course, the closing price is the one that is highlighted in gray. The market hasn't closed, so that price is going to continuously update. The price to the left of, the value to the left of the price is the last traded size. So 100 shares traded, 100 shares traded, 800 shares traded. Every time that it changes, then that means that that's the number of shares that were traded last. So from this window, it has all this information. It has market depth, it has volume, it has the VWAP, it has the range of the day, it has the current trading price. You can place your trades, which is placing your trades in context with a lot of information from the security that you're trading. If I want to submit a trade, I can just click on the bid or ask. I click on the bid, the blue column if I'm going to buy, or I click on the red column if I'm going to sell. Let's say that I'm a buyer of Bank of America. I don't have a position. You can see that position up here says 0. I'm looking for my quantity. A lot of times, right here at the top, I like to change my matrix to show me the information that I want. So what I do is I go here to settings, and I go to columns, and I go to the quote bar. The quote bar is the top part of the matrix. And I go to the quote bar, and I remove a lot of things that I don't need. For example, I don't need the trade size. This is the last traded size. I'm going to remove that, or the trade exchange. I don't need the bid size. I don't need the ask size. I don't need the bid or the ask because I'm looking at it right here on the screen. So why have it up there? Maybe the net change, open P&L, close. Okay, this is all good. So I remove that. Oh, let me go back in there to show you something. Columns, quote bar. Once you make the changes, you can set that as the default so that every time that you open up the matrix, it doesn't have all those little pieces of data that you don't really use. Let me simplify my view, right? A lot of times, we have that data up there because of regulation. A lot of our regulators, tell us data that it's that needs to be visible to every trader, and that's why a lot of times we have all those sections kind of cluttered with all that information. But you can go in there and modify it to your liking and strip it so that it's simpler to use. Right here, I have my quantity. Another thing that I don't have on my matrix, which if you're comparing your matrix to mine, you're probably saying, where is the little bar here on the left-hand side? Well, I disabled it last time I was using the matrix, but I'm going to bring it back. I can do a right click on my matrix, go to settings, and I can bring back the trade bar. It's called the trade bar. And there it is. Let me resize this so that I can see the whole trade bar. Okay, I'm also gonna pull up a chart here. But before I pull it up, let me go ahead and place a trade so that you can see the functionality, and then we'll talk about why do we need a chart. So I'm gonna place a trade. I can do the buttons here, buy market, short market, if I just want a market order. Keep in mind that if you're clicking on the blue here or the red, you are technically choosing a price. So if you're on the blue, you're buying at the price that corresponds to that row. And if you're clicking on the red, you're selling at the price that corresponds to that row. Notice how the matrix is also smart in sensing where you're clicking. Notice that I'm on the red. I haven't clicked, I'm just hovering. But notice on the left-hand side, the indicator says short 100 limit. It's a limit order on the short side because I'm above the market. But notice what happens when I bring my cursor below the market. I'll take a look at the order details. It says short 100, stop market. It changes the order type from limit to market because now I am below the market and it says, well, I need to switch my order type to stop if I'm going to short here. Does that make sense? So it's an it selects the type of order automatically. The same here on the blue. If I'm below the market, notice that it says buy 100 limit. If I'm above the market, it says buy 100 stop market. Now it buys as a stop. If you don't like this auto type of order selection, this is controlled by this auto order type. Now you can set it to any order type you want. I mean, I've always left it on the auto limit stop because it's quick, easy, and efficient. In the sense of placing trades, sometimes you forget to change the order type, your order gets rejected. So I like how the matrix uses auto to change the order, but be aware of what is happening and be aware of your order type as well, because don't rely on the technology by itself. Always be looking for the type of orders just to ensure that the order that you're placing is the one that you want. That's why, confirmations are always good. In my case, in this demonstration, my confirmations are disabled, and I do it just because of convenience. So I don't have to get this pop-up window every single time. But if you're trading, the confirmation is going to allow you to double check your work, make sure that you didn't fat finger the quantity or fat finger the price, and you're all off. So make sure that you always check your prices and quantities before placing your trade. But if I want to buy, Bank of America at 39.70, let me look here at the VWAP. I'm going to join here. All these people that are waiting here, I'm just going to click inside this blue cell and my order is submitted. This blue box here on the left-hand side shows me that I have an active order to buy 100 shares of Verizon. Actually, not Verizon, this is Bank of America. I can cancel that order. Let's say, for example, I didn't mean to enter a trade for 100. I meant to do 1,000. I can quickly cancel that order by clicking on it. One click cancels it. Let me go over here to the right, change my quantity to 1,000, come back here to 39.70 and click one more time. Notice that my order is back in, but now with the right order. I can adjust that order by clicking and dragging. Let's say that I want to improve my entry price by a nickel. I'm going to drop it to 39.65. All I need to do is click, drag, click and hold, by the way. Click, drag, and drop it right here at 39.65. Very easy. If I want to get filled, I know that the best selling price right now is 39.71. How do I know that? Because that's where the offer is. That's the best selling price. We have about 6,000 shares being sold at that price. So if I get my 1,000 buy order and drop it in there, it'll be filled immediately because there's liquidity there. Let me drag the order, drop it in there. Order filled. And I get filled. I get real-time P&L here on the left-hand side, very visual. I can set profit targets and stop losses using these amounts, which I find convenient. So if I want to set a $200 profit target, I just click on the 200 and that's my selling transaction right there. I can click and adjust that selling transaction to any location that I want by clicking and dragging. I can cancel that order by just a single click. You can do a stop loss by clicking on the negative amount that you're willing to lose, like a negative 100. I click it. That's my selling transaction right there as a stop. Let me cancel the order. Notice that if I'm on a negative number, the order type is a stop market. You can see it there, sell 1000 stop market. If I'm above the market, then it's a sell 1000 limit. It works as a profit target. So notice how it switches the order type based on where you're clicking. Now let me go ahead and cancel all this. I'm going to click on the close button here. By the way, closes whatever you own with a market order. It's a quick way for you to close your position. Do not confuse the close button here with closing the matrix. It doesn't close the matrix. It actually does a transaction to get you out of your position. Order filled. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do an all-inclusive trade that has my profit targets and my stop losses all attached in one single trade. It's called an OSO, order since order. Not sure if you've heard of the functionality, but TradeStation makes it easy for you to put those orders together and send them to the market. It's a trade that you've already planned out, that you've already analyzed. You are calculating your risk and your reward, and you're okay with the terms, and you put in the trade based on your specifications. We do that with this checkbox. It says attach an OSO. And you have multiple templates that you can attach based on the number of shares you're trading. You can do multiple stops or multiple targets. We're going to do something simple. Let's choose one that has 2 targets and 1 stop. 2 targets, one that closes at a target that's conservative and another one that runs a little bit higher to capture at least a portion of the profits. Let's do 2 targets and 1 stop. By the way, these are all abbreviations. BRK stands for bracket, and the L is a limit, and the S is a stop. So the numbers, it refers to the number of orders inside of the bracket. 2 limits, 1 stop. The SL is a stop limit, different type of order. But I'm going to select this one that has 2 L and 1 S. And before we place the order, let's think about how far away are these exits going to be. I'm going to click here on the ellipses, which is the way that you format this order, and you have to specify. I know that Bank of America is trading at $39. Let's suppose that I want to put in my first target at 50 cents. 50 cents from the current price. Maybe a little bit shorter. I'm going to do 0.25. If I'm trading 1,000 shares, that's about $250. My second target, notice that I'm coming here to the second limit order. Always refer to the type of order that you're editing. So the second limit order, I'm going to do the 50 cents. So I have a $250 first target. I have a $500 second target. Now the 2 stops, I can either choose to have them all at the same level, which is intention. That's the template that I selected. So I can set the offset at the same distance. Let's say that I want to do the offset here at 10 cents. A short stop, 10 cents, it's a $100 stop. If you set them both at the same, offset, it'll be combined into one single stop. All right. You may find the offset a little bit confusing. This is the way that the matrix handles these type of orders. You have to think in terms of how far away do I want my profit target and stop in terms of points or cents or minimum ticks. If you're trading futures, you have to tell it in minimum ticks. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to place my trade, but this time I'm just going to buy at market. Order filled. I get filled. 39.67 is my entry. You guys see the stop down here? 39.57. 10 cents from my entry. And if I scroll to the top, I'm going to see my first stop right here at 39.92. And I'm going to see my second stop right here at 40.17. If you don't want to scroll to be able to find your orders, That's the reason why I always have a chart here on the right-hand side, because the chart will give you a bigger visual, especially if you have these targets and stops a little bit further away from where the current price is. The matrix is very good at looking at where the current price is and what's happening very close to where the current price is trading. But if you want to see further beyond and want to avoid the scrolling, then, so let me go ahead and put the chart here on the right-hand side. Okay. Open up the chart a little bit. And you can see my orders in relationship to where the market is at the moment. You see my entry, you see the stop, and the two targets. That's I always, have these two applications open side by side so that I can get the visual of the market. If I turn this chart into a daily chart, now this helps me see where Bank of America has been historically. Notice that Bank of America right now is trading at close to an all-time high. I think it's an all-time high, right? This is the chart of Bank of America. Well, not sure how high Bank of America has traded, but notice that you can see your profit, losses, and targets in context with everything else, right? That's my class for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. It was a great joining you guys today and showing you some of the few tips and tricks here on the TradeStation platform. I want to wish everyone a wonderful afternoon and thank you for your support. And I look forward to seeing you in our future events. Goodbye, everyone. Great having you.